Welcome to another deep dive.
Oh, what?
Today we're journeying back to the time of patriarchs
Okay.
and exploring the story of Abraham finding a wife for his son Isaac.
Right.
It's a story filled with camels, wells, a journey across ancient Mesopotamia,
Wow.
and even a touch of divine intervention. Ready to unpack all this with me?
Absolutely. It's a story that has captivated readers for centuries, and I'm excited to delve into its deeper layers with you.
So let's jump right into Genesis chapter 24.
Okay.
The story kicks off with Abraham making his servant swear a rather intense oath. What's going on there?
Well, this oath reveals how crucial finding the right wife for Isaac is to Abraham. He doesn't just want any woman for his son.
Right.
He demands the servant find someone from among his own people,
Yeah.
specifically excluding the Canaanites.
Interesting.
It's a huge deal and sets the stage for the entire story.
Why is this so important to Abraham? I mean, it seems a bit extreme to make someone swear an oath to God over finding a wife for your son.
Well, it's not just about a wife.
Oh.
It's about lineage, faith,
Okay.
and the continuation of God's covenant.
Right?
Remember,
Yeah.
God made promises to Abraham about his descendants and their future.
Right.
In Abraham's mind, marrying the wrong person could jeopardize everything.
So it's like he's trying to protect the purity of his lineage
Yes.
and in turn God's promises.
Exactly.
Okay.
He believes that marrying a woman from the Canaanites, who worshiped different gods and held different values, could dilute the faith and obedience he sought to pass down.
Gotcha.
This oath is his way of ensuring Isaac stays true to the path God has laid out for him.
And this servant he sends out.
Yeah.
He's not just some random guy, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
This is Abraham's most trusted servant, a man entrusted with managing his vast wealth and essentially carrying out his legacy.
Okay.
The fact that Abraham sends him on this mission speaks volumes about the importance of the task.
So the servant embarks on this epic journey to Mesopotamia
Right.
with 10 camels loaded down with Abraham's finest possessions.
Ooh, wow.
You know, not exactly your typical dating app
It's
profile.
definitely a unique approach.
Yeah.
But it highlights the significance of marriage in this culture.
Right.
The camels and gifts are a statement about Isaac's desirability as a match,
Okay.
chosen by God, and the future bride will be well taken care of.
Okay, but then it gets even more interesting.
Yeah.
The servant arrives at a well in the evening
Okay.
and prays for a very specific sign from God. He wants God to reveal the right woman by having her offer water not only to him,
Yeah.
but also to all 10 thirsty camels. That's a lot of water.
Right.
What's going on there?
It's a clever test, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
The servant isn't just looking for any woman.
Yeah.
He's looking for someone with specific qualities.
got it.
A woman who is not only willing to help a stranger,
Okay.
but also willing to go above and beyond, demonstrates remarkable generosity,
Right.
hospitality, and a strong work ethic,
Right.
all qualities that would have been highly valued in a wife and mother.
And like something out of a divinely orchestrated movie, Rebekah shows up
Yes.
and does exactly that.
Amazing.
She's not only beautiful,
Wow.
but she's kind and hardworking,
Oh.
fulfilling the servant's prayer to the letter. What happens next?
The servant is instantly convinced that Rebekah is the one God has chosen,
Go.
but the story doesn't end there.
Right.
He needs to get the approval of Rebekah's family.
Yeah.
That family's approval.
Talk about nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine having to convince a family you just met to let their daughter go with you, to marry a man she's never even met, hundreds of miles away.
Right.
It's a big ask.
It's a pivotal moment in the story.
Okay.
The servant approaches Rebekah's family with humility and respect,
Yeah.
laying out the entire story
Uh-huh.
about Abraham, Isaac, the oath, and the miraculous encounter at the well. He's completely transparent and leaves nothing out,
Uh-huh.
highlighting his respect for them and emphasizing the divine nature of the whole situation.
Right.
It's fascinating to see how he navigates this delicate situation.
And it works. Rebekah's family is convinced.
Yeah.
They see the servant's story and a miraculous meeting at the well as a clear sign from God.
Right.
It's amazing how quickly things fall into place.
It's a testament to the importance of faith and divine guidance in their culture.
Yeah.
But it's not just the family that gets a say. They actually consult Rebekah directly,
Oh, that's right.
which was unusual for the time.
They ask her,
Yeah.
do you want to go with this man? And she says yes.
She does.
It shows that she had agency in this decision.
Yeah.
even in this ancient context where arranged marriages were the norm.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a detail that often gets overlooked,
Okay.
but it highlights the respect given to Rebekah and
Right.
her willingness to embrace this new path, even though it meant leaving everything she knew behind.
It's a huge leap of faith for her.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine leaving your family and everything familiar to travel hundreds of miles to marry a man you've never met.
I know.
That's incredible.
Think about the journey back to Canaan.
Okay.
What must have been going through Rebekah's mind,
Yeah.
leaving her homeland, her
Wow.
family,
Yeah.
her entire world
Yeah.
to step into the unknown.
Hmm.
It's a powerful testament to her courage and trust in God's plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then we come to the moment when Rebekah finally meets Isaac.
Okay.
He's out meditating in the field,
Uh-huh.
and she sees him approaching in the distance.
Yeah.
But instead of rushing to greet him,
Right.
she covers herself with a veil.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, this act of veiling goes beyond a simple gesture of modesty.
Okay.
It symbolizes a profound transition for Rebekah.
Okay.
It's an acknowledgement of her new role as Isaac's wife
Uh-huh.
and her submission to him as head of their household. It's a visual representation of stepping into this new chapter of her life.
It's a fascinating detail that reveals a lot about the social and cultural norms of the time.
Right.
And it adds a layer of depth and complexity to the story,
It does.
inviting us to consider the dynamics of gender roles and power structures in ancient societies.
Yeah. For sure.
So Isaac brings Rebekah into his mother Sarah's tent,
Hmm.
and she becomes his wife.
Right.
A beautiful image of continuity,
Yeah.
especially considering the next line in the Bible tells us
Okay.
Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
Right.
What does this tell us about their relationship?
Well, it suggests that Rebekah brought solace and joy to Isaac during a time of immense grief.
Uh-huh.
It hints at a deep connection,
Yeah.
suggesting that even in this arranged marriage,
Right.
love and companionship blossomed.
It challenges the stereotype that arranged marriages are loveless or purely transactional.
It does.
There's room for genuine affection and emotional connection even within those cultural frameworks.
Absolutely. This story reminds us that human emotions and relationships are complex
Mhm.
even in ancient times,
Right.
and that marriage, even when orchestrated by others,
Yeah.
has the potential to be a source of deep comfort and fulfillment.
It also reminds us that these biblical figures were real people
Yes.
with real emotions,
Uh-huh.
grappling with loss,
Right.
love,
Yeah,
and the challenges of building a life together.
for sure.
It makes the story even more relatable,
It does.
even thousands of years later.
Speaking of relatable,
Yeah.
this deep dive has me thinking about the role of faith in our own lives.
Okay.
Abraham's unwavering trust in God's promise
Uh-huh.
and his active pursuit of fulfilling his part of the covenant is pretty inspiring.
It is.
Yeah.
It shows that faith isn't passive.
Right.
It requires action, a willingness to step out and trust,
Yeah.
even when we don't have all the answers.
Right.
Just like the servant
Yeah.
who set out on this incredible journey, relying on God's guidance and providence to lead him to the right woman for Isaac.
And let's not forget Rebekah's leap of faith in agreeing to this marriage.
Right.
She embraced the unknown, trusting that God was leading her on this path.
It makes me wonder about the signs we might miss in our own lives
Yeah.
because we're not paying close enough attention
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not trusting enough in God's plan.
That's a good point.
Do you ever think about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a challenge for all of us,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Yeah.
To discern God's guidance amidst the busyness and complexities of our lives.
This story also emphasizes the importance of lineage and legacy,
It does.
which seem to be incredibly important to Abraham.
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Abraham was very conscious of the line of descendants that would come from him,
Okay.
the line through which God's blessings would flow to the world.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about family trees.
Yeah.
It was about carrying on a spiritual legacy,
Yeah.
passing down faith, values, and a sense of purpose to future generations.
So it's like each generation has a responsibility to build upon the foundation laid by those who came before
Yes.
and to pass on that legacy of faith and faithfulness to the next generation.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a powerful concept that transcends time and culture.
Yeah.
We all inherit a legacy, whether it's from our families, our communities,
Right.
or even our faith traditions.
Yeah.
And we have a responsibility to honor that legacy
Right.
and to contribute to its ongoing development.
It's amazing to think that this story of finding a wife for Isaac is actually about something much bigger.
Oh, yeah.
It's about God's plan unfolding through generations
Right.
and the profound impact that seemingly simple acts can have on the course of history.
It's about recognizing that we're all part of something larger than ourselves.
Yeah.
A story that began long before us and will continue long after we're gone.
That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
Yeah.
It makes you think about your place in the world and the legacy you want to leave behind.
It certainly does. And it
Well-
speaks to the interconnectedness of our lives
Yeah.
and the ripple effects of our actions.
Okay, before we go any further,
Yeah.
I have to ask about something that's been bugging me.
Okay.
Rebekah agreed to leave her family and marry a complete stranger
Right.
based on her family's and the servant's conviction that this was God's will.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Isaac?
Mm-hmm.
Did he have any say in the matter?
Well,
Was he just passively waiting for a wife to be delivered to him?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that the text doesn't explicitly answer. But we can make some educated guesses based on what we know about Isaac and the cultural context.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Fill me in.
Well, first, Isaac was a man of deep faith,
Okay.
raised in a home where obedience to God was paramount.
Mm-hmm.
It's likely he trusted his father's judgment
Right?
and believed that God would guide the entire process.
So he probably wasn't sitting there thinking,
I wish I had a say in this.
right.
He was probably more focused on trusting God's plan,
Yeah.
even if it meant marrying someone he'd never met.
Exactly.
Right.
Remember, Isaac had also just experienced the profound loss of his mother, Sarah.
Yeah.
He was likely grieving
Yeah.
and emotionally vulnerable,
Uh-huh.
and maybe even welcoming the idea of a wife, someone to share his life with and help him navigate this difficult time.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And, of course, we have to consider the cultural context.
Right.
Arranged marriages were the norm.
Yeah.
So Isaac might not have even expected to have a voice in choosing his wife.
Right.
It was more about trusting the wisdom of the elders and believing that God would orchestrate the right match.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily passive on Isaac's part.
Right.
His willingness to submit to his father's wishes and trust in God's plan could be seen as a sign of maturity and faith.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But it still makes me wonder about his feelings. Was he excited to meet Rebekah?
Wow.
Nervous.
The text focuses more on the events themselves
Mm-hmm.
rather than delving into Isaac's internal world.
It does.
So we're left to speculate.
It's true.
Yeah.
We don't get a glimpse into his heart in the same way we do with Rebekah's journey.
Right.
But I think that's part of what makes these ancient stories so compelling.
Yeah.
They invite us to imagine, to empathize,
Okay.
and to wrestle with the complexities of human experience,
Right.
even those that aren't explicitly laid out in the text.
Just like we're having a conversation with the text, asking questions, filling in gaps,
Yeah,
and trying to understand the story and its characters on a deeper level.
I agree.
This whole deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
It's fascinating to see how a story that's often presented as a simple romantic tale actually has so many layers of meaning, cultural nuances,
Right.
and theological depth.
It's true.
So to wrap things up,
Okay.
what are some key takeaways we can glean
Mm.
from this story of Isaac and Rebekah?
Well, it's a story that speaks to the power of faith,
Uh-huh.
the importance of family and lineage, and the mystery of God's plan unfolding in our lives,
Right.
often in unexpected ways.
Right.
It also challenges us to think about the role of tradition and cultural norms
Mm.
and how those things shape our understanding of relationships,
Yeah.
gender roles,
Yeah.
and even our own beliefs.
And for me, it's a reminder that even amidst ancient customs and arranged marriages, there's room for genuine love,
Yes.
companionship,
Yeah.
and emotional connection.
Yeah,
It's a story that speaks to the enduring power of human relationships,
it is.
regardless of the time or context.
Beautifully said.
And it's a powerful reminder that these biblical figures weren't just characters in a story.
Yeah.
They were real people
I know.
with real emotions,
Yeah,
grappling with life's challenges and triumphs, just like we do today.
for sure.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the story of Isaac and Rebekah. We hope you've enjoyed exploring this ancient narrative with us.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And remember, this is just the beginning.
It is.
Keep digging deeper,
Yeah.
asking questions,
Right.
and allowing these stories from the past to illuminate your present and inspire your future.
I like that.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,
Okay.
and keep the faith.
We'll see you on our next deep dive.